Wow, what an incredible football game. Alabama takes down number 2 Georgia 41-34 in a game that should not have been as close as it was. I don't know about you guys, but me personally in the first half, I was screaming, I want 70 points. And Alabama's offense was not really able to get it going in the second half very much, but at the end of the day, they came through when it really mattered. Ryan Williams, we'll talk about him. He was incredible today. Another 177 yards for the 17-year-old. I mean, he was absolutely insane. Jalen Milroe, I thought, played really well. Carson Beck had an absolutely terrible first half, and then in the second half really stepped up for Georgia, so kudos to him. But Alabama able to squeak one away here in the second half against the Georgia Bulldogs. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We will bring you Alabama football news and rumors. We're going to have watch parties every single week here. We gave away a Jalen Milroe jersey tonight, or if the winner wants a Ryan Williams jersey, we'll get him that too. But, man, we had a lot of fun. So make sure you guys are subscribed right here. That's youtube.com/@RollTideTV. Some injury news here before we get into my takeaways from today's game. Kendrick Law, when Ryan Williams was back there returning punts and returning kicks, I was like, why the hell is Ryan Williams back there? He muffed, he kind of bobbled one of those punts earlier in the game, and then he also, muffed one of the kickoffs late in the game. Cole Adams just, jumps on it, and that puts Alabama 1st and 10 at their own 3-yard line after a kickoff. And they did nothing with it, gave the ball back to Georgia, gave them a shot at the end of the game. But that was because Kendrick Law went out in the game. I must have missed that while the game was going on. Kalen DeBoer saying he went out with a lower leg injury. So, nothing more on Kendrick Law besides that he's got a lower leg injury. So, make sure you guys are subscribed, because if there's an update on Kendrick Law, we will let you guys know. Takeaway number 5 of today's game. We'll count it down here. Jalen Milroe, man. I thought Jalen Milroe was absolutely incredible in this game for Alabama. Both on the ground and through the air. He did it all for the Crimson Tide. A lot of people talk a lot about Jalen Milroe, how they think Ty Simpson should be the quarterback. And, after today's game, man, against one of the best defenses in the country, Kirby Smart's one of the best coaches in the country. They made some amazing adjustments going into halftime, but Alabama's offense in the first half was incredible. In the first half, Alabama's offense put 355 yards up, 30 points on the board. But in the second half, I think they went, a little bit too conservative. 192 yards, so still not terrible there in the second half, but man, what Jalen Milroe was able to do for you, career high in passing yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 2 more touchdowns on the ground, 117 yards rushing. Now, 109 of those came in the first half. Alabama wasn't really able to do much on the ground in the second half, but man, when you're putting up 547 yards throughout an entire game, that's great. I don't think you could ask for more, from your quarterback there. The only blemish that you could really talk about is the one interception. And really, that one interception wasn't really his fault. The ball was a little bit behind C.J. Dupree, and he did get hit at the same time. But, that was just kind of a fluke thing. First interception of the season. I thought Jalen Milroe made a lot of really good decisions in this game, and I don't think you could have asked for much more out of your quarterback tonight. So grade Alabama tonight against Georgia. Look, there were definitely a lot of ups, but there were definitely some downs too. So, that first half definitely would have gave it an A-, maybe a B. Second half, a little bit of a different story. So let me know at the pinned comment of today's video. If that ad comes here on YouTube, that's totally fine. You can ignore it. Go down there to the pinned comment and grade Alabama's performance against Georgia. Look, do I have to remind you guys again that Ryan Williams is a 17-year-old? This kid is absolutely incredible. Every single time Alabama needs, a big play, this guy comes through for you. 6 receptions tonight, 177 yards, 1 touchdown, longest 75. I mean, man, excuse me, I'm burping now. Every single time you need a big play, anywhere in the game, Ryan Williams comes through, and I could not be more impressed with him. I think the Ryan Williams for Heisman hype is definitely real. That's probably going to be part of my overreaction Sunday tomorrow is, talking about Ryan Williams, talking about he needs to be in that Heisman, race. Because what he's doing as a 17-year-old, as a wide receiver, has been absolutely incredible for Alabama. And, when you need a big play, he comes up big for you. That 75-yard touchdown, with 2.5 minutes left, Alabama's down 34-33. They need to go down there and score a touchdown. And Ryan Williams does it on the first play of the drive. Makes an incredible grab and then makes two Georgia defenders run into each other and then just goes down the sidelines and, scores the touchdown for you. And, man, this kid's absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait to see what he does for the next, 3 seasons because he's not going to be playing for Alabama for 4 seasons. This kid is going to go to the NFL at the first opportunity that he can. Today's show is presented by GameTime. Look, guys, GameTime has been the only ticketing app that I have really ever used, even before they were a sponsor here at the Alabama Football Report. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. The GameTime Picks curation makes it easier for you guys to save more on sports, concert, comedy, theater, and so much more. GameTime Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer you get to the start of the event. GameTime has killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest prices guaranteed. I absolutely love the views from your seat. You get a panoramic view from your seat so you don't get blocked out by, a foul pole if you're going to a baseball game or a press box or anything crazy like that. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app today, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Check out GameTime.co for last-minute tickets. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem promo code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. That link will be in the comments section and the description of today's video. Download GameTime today, because what time is it? It's game time. All right, takeaway number 3 here. Defense, man, had a lot of ups, had a lot of downs. The defense, I don't even know where to start. They played very, very good. I'm just going to start with the positives for the defense tonight. Look, they won the turnover battle. They forced Georgia to have 4 turnovers in this game. Carson Beck threw 3 interceptions, had 1 fumble from Quay Russaw, had a strip sack fumble. That is a very positive thing. I will also say another positive thing is the fact that they didn't give up. They definitely, when Georgia had the momentum in this game, Alabama's defense definitely could have gave up, and they didn't. So, if I want to talk about some positives, those were some positives for the defense. But when you're giving up 519 yards, that just can't happen, man. Look, they were able to stop Georgia, relatively well in the first half, only giving up 7 points, 153 total yards. Georgia only had 53 yards rushing in the first half and 100 yards passing in the first half. But really, I think a lot of that, honestly, was on Carson Beck. And Carson Beck had a phenomenal second half. That's where most of his, passing yards and everything came from. 339 passing yards in the second half for Carson Beck. So, he had to throw the ball 50 times, but he also turned the ball over 4 times. And at the end of the day, that was, the biggest thing that helped Alabama win this game was the fact that Carson Beck, turned the ball over a bunch. And in a game where, Georgia came into this game with no turnovers so far on the season, Alabama was able to do that. And honestly, they were able to stop the run pretty well, in this game too. 53 yards given up on the ground in the first half, 27 in the second half. So, there were some times where I thought Georgia was, really starting to, gain some momentum when it came to running the ball, but then they kind of went away from it because they were behind and, they weren't really able to continue to do that. But man, when you're up 30-7 in the first half and then, go down 34-33 in the second half, that just cannot happen. And some of that, yes, it does go on the offense as well. But man, the time of possession at the end of the day in the first half and in the second half, because, we had some people talking about time of possession in the second half. Defense couldn't get off the field. Look, Georgia, time of possession in the second half only outgained you by 2 more minutes. So it really wasn't, that big of an issue when it came to that. But, man, Alabama was not able to get off the field on 4th down. That was a really, really big thing in this game. Georgia was only 3 for 15 on 3rd downs, but they were also 5 for 5 on 4th down. So when you get in those 4-down opportunities, you got to be able to get off the field, man. The defense did not give themselves, any favors in this game because, they weren't able to get off the field. And some of that, yeah, sure, is on the offense not being able to convert either in the second half. But, man, when you're up 30-7 and then, in the second half, the other team comes back and takes the lead 34-33, and then you got to put the offense back on the field in hopes that they can go down there and make a drive. It should have never got to that. So, I still have some concerns about Alabama's defense right now, even though they still were able to get 4 turnovers from Georgia tonight. So what is your concern level about the defense? Scale it for me 1 to 10 in the comment section. 1 on the low end, you don't trust them at all. 10 on the high end, you think they're one of the best defenses in the country still. Let me know in the comment section right now. The run game was not very good. So we're going to go to a little bit of a negative here. The run game, look, it just was not very good for Alabama tonight. Specifically for Justice Haynes and Jam Miller. We talked about Jalen Milroe. He did great for Alabama rushing the ball in the first half, but in the second half, wasn't really able to, get anything going on the ground. And when you want to run the clock out in the second half and you want to choose some clock, that's great. You would love to be able to do that. But when you can't run the ball, that makes it really hard. Justice Haynes, 6 carries for 35 yards tonight. Just was not able to get anything going. Jam Miller, on the other hand, 5 carries for 8 yards. He did have the 1 receiving touchdown, so that's a good thing. But, at the end of the day, you got to be able to run the ball more consistently than what Alabama did tonight. Jalen Milroe had 109 yards rushing in the first half and only, whatever that math is, 8 yards in the second half. Look, credit to Georgia. They went in and they did a very good job making some adjustments at halftime. And, kudos to them. Kudos to Kirby Smart. But, man, this Alabama run game, I really want them to be more consistent. Because when you're in those situations where you got to run out the clock, you can't just be constantly, give the ball back to them because you can't run the ball at the end of the day. So Alabama's run offense is definitely have to get a little bit better. Some of that is on the offensive line, but I thought, honestly, the offensive line played pretty well tonight. There was one of those 4th downs. Jam Miller just, hit the hole. Hit the hole. That's all you got to do. He kind of did hit the hole, but then thought maybe I need to bounce it outside, and he got tackled, for a TFL. So, if there's one thing that I'm a little bit worried about still right now is Alabama's run game, because they have not been as consistent as I think they can be in that, aspect of the game. On a positive note, though, let me know in the comments section who you think should get the game ball. Is it Jalen Milroe? Is it Ryan Williams? Let me know. Is it somebody on defense? A couple guys on defense did have a really good game, despite Alabama blowing a massive lead in the second half there. So let me know in the comment section who you think Alabama or who should get the game ball for Alabama tonight. Another negative here. Number 1, the penalties for you were just an absolute killer in this ball game. Look, you cannot have 10 penalties for 90 yards and expect to go out there and win the game. It's lucky that you did, but there were so many times, and some of them were stupid too. especially at the beginning of the game. You got Ryan Williams not lining up on the line of scrimmage, so it's an illegal formation. At the end of the first half, Miles McVay goes out there, runs across the field, and decides to get in some Georgia players' face. And whether or not you think it should have been a penalty or not, I don't think that should have been a penalty, but it's those little things that add up, man. Georgia at the beginning of the second half got phenomenal field position because of that. So, still, we have seen this time and time again. They were better last week against Wisconsin, or not last week, but the week before against Wisconsin when it came to those penalties. But man, another game where you have 10 penalties for 90 yards. That is not a recipe for success. So Alabama is definitely going to have to clean that up, as the season goes on and as they progress into this season. Want to look at our keys to victory here real quick before we get out of here, just to see, if Alabama was able to do some of those things. I thought the offensive tackles played really well for you tonight. Didn't give up a sack at all tonight against a very, very good Georgia defense that definitely could have, caused some chaos for Jalen Milroe. So I thought the offensive tackles played really well. Got to get the running backs going early. I thought they did that. And it wasn't just the running backs when we were talking about the keys to victory. It was also Jalen Milroe getting involved in the run game. And Alabama definitely did that in the first half. Like I said, Jalen Milroe had 109 yards rushing in the first half. And Jam Miller also had a receiving touchdown. Pretty much the same play, a little bit of a different, play, but the same concept on that wheel route as, he caught last year for a touchdown in that SEC championship game. So, kind of got the running backs going, but they weren't really able to keep that consistently going on. The defense needs to cook. Ups and downs. We talked about that, right? They forced 4 turnovers, but they still let Georgia come back in this game. Don't force stupid throws. I thought Jalen Milroe did a great job at that. The one interception, I don't think it was a bad throw. CJ Dupree just got to catch that ball at the end of the day. And then special teams. James Burnham, I don't know, he's the best punter in the country this year. So he definitely helped Alabama's defense out a lot when the offense started to stall out a little bit in that second half. So James Burnham definitely helped Alabama in that category. Definitely interested to go back and see on those punts, especially in the second half, where he was kicking from and where he landed it. There was definitely one time as well where he actually landed it on the 3, but I think it was Keon Sabb overran the coverage and the ball bounced into the end zone. So, that was another opportunity where Alabama could have pinned Georgia back early. Oh, I even forgot, too. Alabama forced a safety in this game, too. So that was another really big play for the Crimson Tide. So, a pretty solid game overall for Alabama. They get the win at the end of the day, and that's about all you could ask for, from your team. Going into this game, a lot of people thought you were going to lose against number 2 Georgia, but, it turns out you are still Kirby Smart's daddy.